So let's talk about some sort of post WWE stuff that ties into WWE stuff. You posted the picture, and I know what one I know you know which one I'm talking about because it went viral. What's your weight at right now? 2 years ago, you're telling me 215.
I said 215.
That's what you told me in Toronto. Were you kayfabing
That's
me?
what I was. No, I wouldn't have been 215.
Wow, lying to me on the air.
Well, I don't think I would have been 215. So even when I was doing my last stuff, I was like when you saw me in my last match, like, I think it was Andre the Giant. I was about 202 pounds.
Really? So you were a shoot 205. Like you had made that weight.
Yes, and I made that a mission.
Yeah.
And I know Ali posted out a tweet, like kind of like shooting down rumors. I literally would go into a sauna. If I had a weigh-in segment on 205, I would not eat, and I would go to the workout and hit a sauna. So I look dry and completed for these weigh-ins, right? And then once I would do it, I would eat and drink. So then I would look more watery, so there was a difference between the two.
Just like MMA fighters. I mean, they cut that water weight, they put it back on after weigh-in.
And that was going into the character, which doesn't get, well, maybe they did explain it a little bit on there, but the whole idea was that these guys are 190, 180 pounds, right? Full. I'm going to 205 for a weigh-in. Once I make weight, I'm jumping back to 220. That was the character. So there's 40 pounds difference. What a bully this guy is, right? You know what I mean? Like he's literally going to the edge and then he's just replenishing, rehydrating, and he's picking on these guys 40, 45 pounds lighter. That was the whole character. That's why when they chopped me, I'm looking at him going, really, man? Like,
Anthony Rumble Johnson as a welterweight years ago when he eventually fought Andrei Arlovsky at heavyweight. Like, he was so much bigger than these people.
It's just not fair, right? So that was the whole basis of the character. And it was based on Conor McGregor, like when he went up weight, right? And get the 2 belts. Well, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. But like bringing that realism, I like to bring it as a sport. And I really wanted to do like a styles make matches, right? They always say styles make fights. But the whole, like in 205 back then, it was style makes matches. I was the powerhouse, right? Then you had, you had your luchas, you had your technicians in Gulak. Like Ali was the heart and soul, and then you had Cedric, who was like the borderline big guy that was like whatever. You had Tony that was, this high-flying hybrid. Like everyone kind of had their place, and the styles made the matches. But my whole character was based off being a bully because I'm just making the weight and then I'm back at 220 because I looked like
yes. And with WWE's talent pool, I always looked at it and I was like, man, they should have really added more of that to the division because as we saw in the match with Roman Reigns, like main event pay-per-view caliber level match, it should be that. Like, these guys are just as good as the heavyweight champion. Hopefully one day we can see the cruiserweight champion, the heavyweight champion do battle. Will that size difference or the technique speed difference be the difference? And they have so many big names that are under 205 pounds as well.
Yeah. And the thing is, if I stood next to AJ, like, that's the thing, right? And that's why they never, like, it was a call that Vince made. He's not a cruiserweight. Never mention the cruiserweight again. He looks too big to be a cruiserweight. So if you're saying this guy is a cruiserweight and then I'm bigger than AJ Styles, who was the world champion, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily look good for the world championship.
They've got like Finn Balor, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano. Xavier Woods is listed as 205 pounds. Like, there are so many guys there. I thought that should have been something that they played into, and it's like maybe AJ goes to cruiserweight and challenges for that title, and you beat him. And how great does that make the cruiserweight division look when somebody does that? It seemed like a real missed opportunity to me.
Absolutely, but you're also making your cruiserweight division a light heavyweight division, right? And It should never be that. It should be, rather than 205, it should be like 175. You know what I mean?
And isn't that wild? Because it used to be 225, and that's a UFC heavyweight. 225 pounds is.
Yeah.
So that shows you the way that the wrestling world has changed, and I think it's because so many people see MMA. They see John Jones weighing 205 pounds. They saw Anderson Silva, 185, thin as a rail, dropping people for years and years and years. The greatest athletes aren't usually 265, 300 pounds. We saw Bob Sapp gas out like so many times doing that. So I think that probably played a lot into it. Was that ever something that was mentioned? But it was integrated so much into the branding, 205 pounds, that it's hard for me to believe they would change it.
Yeah, well, at the moment, like, to me, the final nail in the coffin was Daivari and Tony getting released.
Yeah.
They were holding it, like, they were the originals, right? So you take them out, and it's sad because it meant so much. Because, not just to me, but to all the guys for that, right? As soon as they started to do that rebranding and we did that tournament, it was kind of like the rebirth, so to speak. It was like a new era. It was like the attitude era of 205. And everyone kind of had this chip on the shoulder, and we were making it our show. And we felt like we had we could contribute a lot to it, and they would listen to us. But then when Ali disappeared, that was a hit, right? But we're still going good. And then me and Cedric were going away, and we had been told, okay, like, who's next? Like, what are we going to do? Sorry, phone ringing again.
No, it's all right. It's all right. You're getting those calls from New Japan right now. I understand.
I didn't recognize the number, but
probably that Japanese number. I'm just telling you.
Oh well, or my mum.
Yeah, maybe.
But it was just they were slowly taking hits. But not only that, but then they took the riders too. So once me, Cedric, and the riders left, it was kind of doomed.
So what is your weight right now? People were speculating when you posted that picture, you looking super jacked. On a normal day, okay, say it's that picture. What did you weigh in that picture?
213.
Really? So it's funny because EC3, like, we did a segment called Wikipedia Fact Check, where we go through the Wikipedia and see what's true or false, and it said he was 242. And he's like, I've never been above 230 in my life. I don't know why we say that. He's like, I don't even like to embellish because I'm jacked. People will just look at him and say he's jacked. And then somebody went and edited it and made it 252 after that interview dropped. Like, why do you think there is such a stigma with that? Is it because of how much wrestlers used to weigh when it was like 285, 300 and all that?
I don't know. I think it comes down to, like, because I remember when I watched wrestling, I used to, like, even at the start, I used to see how big someone was to compare myself. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm almost his size, right? So I think it's just to make us feel bigger, because obviously we're not, like, back in the day, there were these massive behemoth people. And obviously the times have changed. It's not like that anymore. But we still have to be above normal.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're saying, hey, guys, I'm 180, you know what I mean? And this is like, well, I'm 200. Like, 200 is a very average weight, I feel. You know what I mean?
And again, second highest UFC weight class is 205 pounds. That's a pretty large human.
Yeah. And it's just... You go to the gym, and, like, I think, because fitness is so much bigger now too, that a lot of people work out, so they're all up there too. But I'm lucky enough to, like, I got the other day, they're like, how much do you weigh? And I was like, 212. And he's like, man, you look a lot bigger than that. Great. But I'm not. You know what I mean? I think I just have, like, I'm a very dense muscle. Like, I don't hold, like, a lot of water, so... Yeah, strong as hell though. Strong as hell at the moment because I don't.
That's what's important right now.
Well, I think it was just because of the TV. Like, obviously, going to SmackDown, we would record on Fridays. That I was in a very, very bad cycle. Like, I was 199, 200 pounds for a while because I would extreme diet for Monday to Friday, just in case I was booked, and then when it wasn't booked, I would get like depressed. You go, what was it all? And then I would like binge eat all weekend. And then once Monday hit, well, Friday could be the day. And then I would extreme diet again. And then do these crazy fasts. Friday, disappointment, binge, maybe this week. So I was just going through a very bad cycle of depression eating. You know what I mean? In a way. So, but now, like, since that weight came off, it's just like, well, I don't need to take my shirt off every Friday. I can eat a little bit more. Like, I can gain some size without actually like going on TV and looking awful. And that's the thing, man. I think WWE, their biggest thing is they need to fix things terrible.
Really?
I could look really good, and then as soon as I walk under those lights, everything's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.